When you feel ready to continue this breath, just start to make the breath more active. So rather than just focusing on the exhale, really allow the body to draw the exhale out. So it's like you're trying to get every single last little droplet of breath out of your body and into the air. And hopefully that should bring you a sense of coordination through the center of the body, through the middle. With each fresh exhale, make it a little bit deeper. So send the muscles in towards each other. And then don't forget the pelvic floor. And simply just do 3 more, really finding that center of the body really active. And then just let it go. Let the belly have a little rest, just normal breaths, normal everyday breaths. And I'm going to just check in with the traps and the shoulders. So as you exhale, bring the head and the chin closer together. And as you inhale, just a little bit open up the chin. Exhale, the head sweeps down. It's a lovely circular action. Inhale as you draw the chin up, and you might take this motion through into the shoulders and into the chest. So there's more of like a little circle happening through your rib cage, maybe, or whatever feels nice. And at some point, we're going to keep the head a little bit stiller, and we're just going to roll the shoulders up. So finding the shoulders really close to the ears, and then exhale as we try and drop them as low as possible. Inhale as we lift them up. And exhale. Just do 2 more. Oh, so nice. Yay. And then before we come onto our hands, just have a little shake, just see how that whole thing feels. Okay. And then pop the hands onto the floor. Fingers face forward. Fingers a little bit spread as well, so we've got quite a decent size. And then just simply circle. Yep, and again, just see how that's feeling. If you slow the circle down at the very top as you get closer to your mat, you'll feel more weight going through the hands, and you might feel where the hands don't like you to put weight on. So you can just have a little interesting interaction. And then just pop your hands out to the side so the fingertips are facing to the long edge. Brilliant. And then just rock side to side. So we're just shifting the weight from side to side. And again, we're just feeling how the hand interacts when weight comes through it. And then go in between the two. So it's not out to the side, it's not out to the front. It's like a little diagonal. So that shoulder is externally rotated. And then little circles again. If you keep the circles fairly small and fairly close to the front of your mat, really nice. Brilliant. And then just turn your hands somewhat towards you. However towards you they'll be happy to go, and that's going to be individual. And then we're going to just try and lift the heel of the hands up first as we sit to the hips a little bit closer to our heels, just the heel of the hand. So we should feel a fairly decent stretch going through our fingers, and it's like we're peeling a little bit off and a little bit off. And you can take the hands up and have a little feel of the hands. Hopefully they feel like, oh, there's a nice little space there now. That's going to be helpful if you do plan to be on your hands for the lift. Not quite so helpful if you do plan to be on your forearms, but always good to have a little wrist warm-up technique in your bag. Okay, down dog when you're ready. And then as we inhale, really lift the heels as high as you possibly can. And as you exhale, try and get the heels as low as you possibly can, pushing really deep. Inhale as we lift. Deep exhale as we push down, head softens. Inhale. Exhale. Oh. Do one more of each before we come into our Navasana boat pose. Yes. Once you've done that, knees can come down. You can cross the ankles. Boat, half boat, lying down, half boat, boat. So lovely. Brilliant. Shins are parallel. Perfect. Back stays up. If you want a little bit more activation through the core, a little tiny, tiny, tiny roundness. Tiny. Wait for the exhale. When you feel it, ooh, let it allow you to go long. Allow the inhale to drop the weight of your body down onto the ground. And then exhale, it's like a really powerful snap up. Back up to half Navasana. Nice. Inhale as we pause. Slow exhale. Ooh, lift up. Oh. I wouldn't recommend straight legs, especially if your hamstrings, like mine, haven't had any warming up. Inhale as we pause. Exhale, we go really long. Your choice of arms now. Belly stays as compact as we can possibly make it. Inhale, we drop down. Oh, it's a welcome relief. Exhale, head and feet lift up at the same time. It's half boat, really nice. Inhale as we pause. Exhale, draw the two ends, the knees, ends rather, knees and the head together. Inhale as we pause. Oh. Exhale, maybe the arms by the ears as we add weight. Inhale, we drop down. Exhale, head, arms, feet up. Inhale as we pause. Exhale, Navasana. Oh, one more actually, because we're going to end up on our backs just for a second. Exhale, half boat. Inhale, drop down. We're going to stay there. Stay there. Okay, you might need to wriggle down. Take your arms just above behind you, as it were. And we're just going to have a little feel. Yeah, we're just going to have a little feel. So, Sammy, move a little bit further down so you can straighten up the arms. We're just going to have a little shoulder. So arms stay straight, just like they would in a down dog or a handstand, and have them about the same width as well, so they're shoulder width. Yes. And this is going to tell you your line of handstand. So if your elbows are desperately bending, that's fine. And if the wrists don't come to the floor, that's also fine. Gems, you're perfect there. Yeah, absolutely perfect. It's annoying, range of motion. If the wrists aren't resting down, that just tells us that we're going to have to work a little bit more on our overhead mobility. And this is a lot of mobility. This is an extreme range of motion. So don't think that there's something wrong with you just because you can't. It is a lot. And also, we're probably going to have to work on drawing the ribs in. So Sammy, can you draw those ribs? So have your hands active, pressing as much as you can against the floor, and then draw the ribs in to meet the lungs and the heart, as if the ribs are kind of trying to have a little cuddle with the organs. That sounds gross, but you know what I mean. So it's like a tip of the pelvis as well. So everything comes in. Yep, and then let it go. Let it go, properly let it go. No contraction, that's it, nice. And then keeping the arms straight and pushing down. Contract. Rib cage comes in. Pelvis tuck, so you like kind of squeeze your butt. and then soften it. Lovely. Flip on over and enjoy cat-cow. Bring your blocks on the way and just have them in front of you ready. Yeah, we could just ease out our cat-cow. Yeah. Louise, I couldn't see your arms. How close were your arms to the floor? Were they all the way? Great, good news. This is my favorite phrase. Shoulder mobility, low hanging fruit. Think how easy it is to stretch the shoulders. That's nice. Think how difficult it is to practice jumping up and down in a handstand. So shoulder mobility, low hanging fruit. Do one more, and then we'll just do a little shoulder stretch. Depending on where you want your arms in that final position today, you can pop your arms or your hands on the blocks where they're going to be in their final position. So if you're going to be on your hands when you go upside down, be on your hands now. If you're going to be in your forearms, be on your forearms now. And then I'm going to just do two things as we've been doing. Push into the blocks, start to walk your knees back, but keep your hips over. And then notice that it feels really nice to come into a back bend, and you might not feel much shoulder stretch. Yeah, so enjoy a back bend for a little bit and then think, oh, okay, I've got to come out of the back bend. So lift the belly off the floor, squeeze the inner knees, and then almost think about doming your back like you would in cat. So really think about doming. It won't really dome, but just think about it. And you should feel most of that mobility start to be upper spine, or I should say upper lats, and then the back deltoid, and then maybe tricep. And then you can soften there. If you think, I wonder whether that's made a difference, feel free just to flip onto your back and notice where your arms are. If you're not interested, come into down dog. Or if you think I can't be bothered to keep swapping over, right? You might think, do my arms now rest a little bit more comfortably on the floor? So arms are straight, backs of the wrists on the floor, rib cage down. Yeah. And when you finish playing with that, you can come to down dog if you're not already. Hopefully there's just a little bit more room. The more room in the shoulders, the more opportunity we have to get that line, and the less we're reliant on a back bend. Okay, take my t-shirt off. That's right, I've got a crop top on. That's right, Louise, crop top. It's happening, it's crop top day. When you're ready, inhale, look forward, forward fold, yay. Check in a little bit with your hamstrings. Again, low hanging fruit when it comes to that kick. And then lift up, flat back. Brilliant. Exhale, maybe your arms stay by your ears and we get more range of motion. Press through those wonderful toes, lift all the way up. And then exhale, hands somewhere on the body, somewhere, or maybe on the head. Inhale, use that range of motion to shoulder and circle. Hopefully that made sense. And then exhale, forward fold. Straight in just because of time. Exhale, right leg back, right knee down. We've got those fairly mean little, very gentle, very small knee lifts. If you prefer to come all the way up and keep that back leg just a little bit bent, do so. If you prefer to stay down and think about pressing down and squeezing together as if you're going to lift off, do that. You don't have to lift off. It puts quite a lot of pressure on the knee. So entirely your choice. Either imagine you're going to lift off by pressing, or press into the back foot, lift the knee a little bit, and then pulse. And now breathe. Lean a little bit back, Kay. So make it difficult, and then still find the breath. Even though there's loads of stuff going on in the thought processes and your body's having a little bit of a scream, that's fine, still breathe. And then knees down, hands down, tabletop. We've got that little kind of almost karate twist thing that we've got going on. You can hover one hand straight away, or you can take the hand off at the last minute. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, opposite limbs. Left leg lifts, right arm, twist, have a little kick. And then slowly draw it back. Opposites, twist, reach, slowly draw it back and turn. One more on both sides. Really nice. You can still twist even in the, so you can keep your knees down and just have a little twist like you would in cat-cow, or, because I know both knees feel really rubbish, or you can lift one knee and have a twist there. You've done loads, everyone's done loads. Okay, come into forearm plank. We won't do it, we'll just do that, we won't do a lift. We'll just do forearm plank, we won't do a lift. Yeah, and then just drop down. Slightly wider arms, slightly forward. You might even decide that the arms are so wide and so forward that your head comes down, totally fine. We're going to work on the back line and lifting up from the glutes. So press the left leg firmly into the ground and imagine we're lifting from here. If it helps, you can just have a little feel and a pinch. Still there. And then imagine lifting from there. So the foot lifts last. Yes. Get comfortable. And then breathe in comfort. So breathe where you could hold maybe for a minute. And then keep that easy breath, but come to a place where you can't hold for probably more than 2 seconds. But the breath is still there. And then drop down, have a little wriggle. Have a little wriggle. And then let's just do the other. It just feels like such a big move. I think if we were to do the rest of the asana on not having done the other side, it will feel weird. So same thing. Right leg is heavy and into the ground, and we feel that left glute, and we ask it to lift from the center, from the middle. Find comfort, that kind of middle point, and we can just breathe. And then keep the breath, but lift up to a place where you know you can't sustain it. It's really unsustainable, but you can still breathe. Ah. And then a nice K, and then have a little wriggle. Have a little wriggle. Okay. When you're ready, push. Back up. Down dog. If you fancy taking the opportunity of having a little jump here, go for it. Slightly shorter down dog. And a lift. And then a walk forward. Brilliant. Inhale. Flat back. Yes. Exhale. Maybe those arms take that little stretch. Maybe you feel where it is. Yeah, stay there for a little bit. Let's just see if you can feel into it. So not necessarily, I know the legs are hurting, but where are you feeling restriction in the arms? If the arms are by the ears, you don't have to, Elena, because there's going to be more stress on the back. Does it feel like it's the back of the shoulder? Does it feel like it's the top of the lats? Or are you like, it's just so horrible, I couldn't even tell you? I know you pointed at something, Kay, but I couldn't see what it was because I could just see your hand somewhere. Push down, lift up. We'll get there, we'll get there. Our next flow, exhale, hands somewhere on the body, is about shoulder mobility. So we're still focusing on upside down, but we're going to focus on shoulder mobility. Inhale, lift up. That's why I'm starting to really look at it now. Exhale, fold forward. Oh, drop down. Yes. Inhale as we soften. And then exhale, left leg back, left knee down. Yeah, so entirely your choice. Either you're lifting up quite high and you're pulsing quite high, or you're imagining you're pushing down with that front foot, pushing down with the back toes, and as you push down, the knees imagining to lift, but it doesn't have to. Whew. When you're ready, maybe lift, and then very close to the ground, little pulses. And we're feeling it straight away. That's it, lean a little bit back. Jem and Sammy, tiny bit back, that's it. And even though it's really tough and it's really hot, breathe through it. So find the breath in it. We can still breathe. Do hard stuff and still breathe. Oh, and then the knee comes down. Oh, foot comes down. It's just a brief knees together, hip side to side action going on. Yes, wonderful. And then as many as you feel like, you might think I've already done loads of those little twisty shoulder mobility things, in which case that's fine. So, okay, just as we were talking about before, one knee can come off and then you can twist the shoulder open. So you should still feel that in the shoulder, as long as it feels all right. How does that feel? Or does the standing knee not like being on one knee? Might not like being on one knee. So really nice laying, just go easy, just really make sure that the back is still on board with your decisions. That's good, Kay. Nice, Sammy. Get great coordination. And then just plank. Forearm plank so we can rest the hands. And then we will lift opposite arms here. We will. Limbs, rather. So very gently press into the right foot, lift the left leg. Yep, gently press into the left arm, lift the right, drop them down. Oh. Other side, press in to the right leg. Oh no, we've done that. Whichever one we haven't done, I've forgotten. It's too painful. And then when you've done both sides, drop down. Have a little wriggle, reset the body. And then same thing, wherever you need to be upper body to support the lower body. Again, if you want to just have a little poke around just to help that know what's going to do. Yep. And then press the left leg down, start to lift the right hip. So the foot, we're trying to let it go last. Get about halfway. And then still invite the breath. We can still breathe. We can do hard things and breathe. And then a little bit higher. So we're in quite a deep back bend. Yep. And then lower. Have a little wriggle. Yep. Right leg presses down into the ground. From the hip, lift up halfway. So it's that nice point. You should feel, yay. And just stay here. Think, yeah, I could be here for a while. And then use the breath to take you to pastures new. And you think, oh, is that all right? Maybe. And then lower it down. That's your kind of kicking. Your kicking limbs. Those are what's going to really help you get up. Of course, as well as shoulders. When you're ready, you might have a little brief stop off in Child's. And then you might make your way to down dog, or you might feel ready already to be in down dog. I'm going to have a brief hydro break. Yep. Now at some point, maybe down dog invites itself to that little hop. Make down dog a little bit shorter, our head stays forward. Yes, we're pushing the floor away. And then there's a decent hoppage going on. Decent hoppage. And then we'll come walk into forward fold. Inhale, come into our flat back with the belly drawn up. Exhale, if it feels comfy, arms by the ears. And again, where am I feeling restriction? Now, interestingly, if you feel more restriction in your arms now than when you do standing up with your arms up, that might tell you that restriction is lats. Because if you think now what we're asking is a little bit of stretch through the lats, Oh, really, bicep? Great, that's super easy. Super easy. Great. Mine is actually, I know mine is my lats. Louise is like, stop it. Right, inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands somewhere on the body. Somewhere on the body. Oh. Inhale, find that new found space. And then exhale all the way down. No more of those little pulses, don't worry. Inhale as we just soften. And then exhale, step back, tabletop. Just tabletop. Really nice. From here, as you exhale, just child's. Have a little stretch out of the arms. Have a little wriggle out. And then slide yourself forward, forearms down. Forearm plank. Okay, so we've got this opposite limbs. Trying not to move the body. Lift the right. Lift the opposite limb. Pop them down. Lift the opposites. Try not to move the torso. No gap. Negotiate. And then down. All the way down. I tried to say navigate and negotiate, and it came up with a whole new word. Okay. You can either stay with exactly what we've been doing, lifting one and then lifting the other, or you might think, right, I'm essentially going to do locust, both legs at the same time, but keeping the upper body down. So again, you might just think, okay, I want to move from here. Take your time and then come halfway. So big exhale to connect to the core and then lift up. And then take a nice big inhale. And then exhale, connect to the core a little bit. On this inhale, you might kind of blow into the belly. It might help you lift the legs, maybe. Maybe on the exhale, it's going to contract the belly. You might feel that as you contract, it's almost like a little spaceship going up. Yes, and even though this is really tough, can we breathe here? Yeah. And then drop the legs. Yep. Okay, if you need to do both sides, go for it. That's it. And when you do that, just keep the leg a little bit into the center line. Yeah, so think about, yeah, that's it. And then you can press back. Down dog. Oh. Stay in your down dog. You might have a hop of both sides. Let's have a look at how these hops are going. Brilliant. That's a nice line there, Sammy. Yep, and even if you've got one foot that doesn't really want to do it. So with your lifts, Elaine, come a little bit shorter in your down dog. So, yeah, that's it. And then slowly lift that leg. And see if you can lift it so much that it kind of, the weight's coming forward into your hands. Yeah, brilliant. Nice. And then gently, when you're ready, you can come to stand. Yeah, no rush, no rush. Right leg is forward. So we've got that quite tricky transition from humble warrior to half moon. We're going to try and do it today, week 3, with our arms behind us, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge because we won't have the security of using our arms to balance us. So, crescent lunge when you're ready. When you feel that flow of exhale, let it take you forward into galloping horse. Inhale as you pause. Exhale, arms behind you. Chest dives down, humble warrior. Inhale as you pause. We're going to keep the hands where they are. We're going to come into half moon with these hands in a weird position. So we're going to need to lean a little bit forward. Lift that back leg. Find our balance first and then open up the top hip. Loads of time to let that happen. Loads of time. Nice. And then just step back. Very well held. Yeah, just 2 more. Really nice. So we are challenging the balance. Expect it to not be perfect. That's great. The more we do that now, the better it will be when we're upside down. Take the arms up. Crescent lunge. Exhale, galloping horse. Inhale as we pause. Maybe we feel if there's a different sensation with the arms here as opposed to chair. And then exhale, arms behind. Humble warrior. Yes, inhale as we pause. Start to lean forward. See if we can be lighter on that back foot. And I just like to lift up first. Get my balance or not. And then open up that top hip. Funny half moon. And then just step back. Super nice, lovely. Nice arm work, Elaine. Inhale, crescent lunge. We're in safe territory. Inhale, safe territory. Exhale, galloping horse. If you did feel that was a lot of balance required, by all means shorten up your stance and that'll be less balance. If you haven't already transitioned, humble warrior, because I've been talking, and then start to lean forward. Weight is in that front foot. Just lift the back, take your time, and then open up the hips. And it might be, like some of you might stay with the hips not closed, but facing the ground in warrior 2. And then just put the back foot down, hands down, runner's lunge. Have a little lift and a lower of the hips in your runner's lunge. See how they're feeling. If you feel like it, grab your blocks. If your hips were happy, lifting and lowering, and you feel there's a little bit of energy spare, you might lift the hips. And then you might swap the legs. But if you think, oh, that was quite cool, you might do that a couple more times. But at some point, we're going to end with a left leg forward. So you can do as many as you feel like. But at some point, the left leg stays forward. Brilliant. When you're done, everyone's looking at me going, that's enough. It's enough. Crescent lunge, I agree, actually. Take the arms out, crescent lunge. Exhale, galloping horse. Inhale. Exhale, arms interlaced. Chest comes down. Humble warrior. Arms stay as they are, which we know is going to be a little bit tough. We start to take the weight forward. Lift the back leg. We take our time. And open up. Loads of time to find our balance. And then just step back. Maybe if that felt really quite challenging, shorter stance. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, galloping horse. Inhale to pause. Oh. Exhale, humble warrior. Try not to lean on that front thigh, which is what I really want to do. Oh. Inhale as we pause. Exhale, lean forward, lift that back leg, and then float. Turn the hips. Loads of time for the body to be steady. And then last one, crescent lunge. Brilliant, loads of time. Mine were really naff, but it's all learning. Yeah. Arms up, inhale. Last one. Exhale, galloping horse. Can you still keep those arms active? So you're still actively drawing them back. Pause on the inhale. Exhale, my glute is on fire. Humble warrior. Inhale, so's Elaine's. And then arms stay as they are, even if it means we're not massively balanced. We lean forward. We might take a little step like me. And lift and maybe turn. And we can still breathe. Still breathe. And then both feet down. Come to stand. Rest the tootsies. You might do some circles with the toes lifted and then gently lower the toes so they have a little kind of paddy stretch. That sounds like we've got Irish feet. Maybe we have. Okay. So we're coming in to our nice soft inversion. So we're just literally going to be upside down for a minute and we're just going to breathe. Not against the wall, so it's not active. We're just going to really get used to being upside down for the system. And all we're going to do is find comfort being upside down and then just breathe for about a minute. We're then going to rest and let everything rebalance. And then we're either going to work against the wall, or we're going to take some restorative postures, or you might want to work on your three-legged shift of weight. Now, I'll just remind you what that three-legged shift of weight, what we're kind of working towards. So we're lifting that leg and lowering it. And as we lift, we're taking the hips forward. And there might be a point when that leg just kind of glides off. One side feels a little bit better than the other. Maybe. All right. If at any point you think, no, that's fine. So, little inversion. Bring your blocks with you. And we're hopefully going to rest the heads on our blocks. Sometimes I get this right and it feels comfy. Sometimes I just don't feel comfy on my head. If you don't feel comfortable on your head, just hands rest on the blocks and you can just drop the head down. As long as the head is lower than the heart and the hips are as high, or higher than the heart rather, then we've reversed the flow and we're in an inversion. Brilliant. So yeah, find comfort. Yeah. And you can take the legs a little bit wider. You can turn them out. Just be aware that we don't want any stretchy sensation around joints. So we don't really want this posture to be around knees or around ankles. Yeah. So it might mean that you come a little bit closer in. The wider you go tends to be inner thighs. The higher up you go, you might feel it a little bit more in the hamstrings. And then you can play with the orientation of your hips to your ankles. So just see if you lean forward, that means your hips are going to come a little bit forward. Yeah. Might feel a little bit unbalanced. And I'm just going to leave you here just to breathe for about 30 seconds. Just breathing. And then very, very, really slowly, we're going to come up, but we're going to just have a little pump of the muscles first. So just before we come up, just lift and lower the heels. So just start to get the leg muscles a little bit more active. And then press them down and squeeze the little toes out as you come up really slowly. So you can feel that reversing of the circulatory system. Yeah, really feel it. You might feel a little dizzy at the top. Just means that we're going to take a little bit more time. If you still feel quite low, you can gently cross the legs and just squeeze them together. Yeah, squeeze the muscles together quite strongly. That's going to pump a little bit more blood around the system. Yeah, just helps. It's quite nice to activate there, actually. If you've been doing one pump one way for quite a long time, you might do the other side, just because we're even. Okay. All right. You might decide to sit for a little bit, you might decide to stand. We'll take about another minute just to breathe. So you might just breathe in mountain, you might sit and breathe. We're just going to really connect to our breath so that as soon as we need it when we're upside down, it's there. It's totally there. And although a lot of times we close our eyes, and that's going to help us connect to the breath, because we're thinking specifically connecting to the breath when we do something challenging, and specifically upside down, our eyes aren't going to be closed for that. So I'd keep your eyes open just for these breaths, because we won't have that luxury of closing that sense off. And you might notice that the body just starts to slacken off with that breath. Might start to feel a tiny little bit softer. Yep, there's some kind of sleepy eyes going on. Sleepy eyes. And then you decide 2 or 3 comfortable, breathable, up against the wallable. It might be for you 1 second. That might be comfort, that might be breathable. It might be a minute. But we do 2 or 3 with as much breaks. Louise, is that a tin of biscuits you've got going on there? She's gone. I don't know. I just saw a tin. I saw a tin. I'm not being funny, but I said a water break. I hope it's not a first aid kit. Gemma's seriously jealous. She's like, what's going on? Okay. So you choose. You can even hang out in what we've just done. So you're either in down dog, 3-legged, trying to shift the weight forward and back, or against the wall. Your choice, forearms down. Before you do anything, actually, just one last thing. If you notice that your back likes to back bend, which is often to do with mobility rather than strength, then I would be a little bit closer to the wall, because if your back naturally back bends, the further away you are from the wall, the more you're going to have to back bend to have your feet on there, all right? But just be aware if you're closer to the wall that your head might give a little tap to it, all right? Loads of time, really nice. Elbows closer together, Sammy, elbows closer together. Yeah, and then keep pressing the wall. Keep pressing the floor. Really nice. And we're just going to breathe. That's it. We're just going to breathe. That's it. Really nice. Imagine pushing the chest a little bit forward. So almost as if you're kind of trying to come out of the shoulders. Just breathe. Just breathe. You can come down whenever you want, but you're totally safe there. Okay, that looks really good. Yep, once you come down, that was perfectly timed, Sammy and Jem. You did that perfect, like exactly the same. Proper rest so you can check in. Proper rest. And then we've got just one more against the wall. If you've been doing those 3-legged dogs, they're actually really, really intense. So you might spend the extra kind of minute just having a little shoulder and wrist massage. And maybe on this one, you come up, imagining coming up slower. So you imagine you slow it down. Even springier. That bottom leg, Sammy, even springier. So it really bends. Ankle and knee really bends. So it's a real big spring action. Everything else looks really good. There's just not a super amount of spring going on. I've just realised you're doing hands down. Yeah, hands down. There's a lot more. You've got to lift a lot more. It's a lot more. It's good to do hands down first, actually, even if you don't get up against the wall, because it then makes forearms down a lot easier. Nice, Jem. Really a nice descend as well. Really nice. And then once you've done, I think we'll... You almost held it. Really nice. You almost didn't need the wall. Brilliant. Okay, so we'll leave Sammy as she is, and we'll just have a little bit of a rest. She can come down and join us when she's ready. She looks perfectly happy. So if you haven't already, just have a little check-in. So really allow the arm to be really loose. And then just start to explore the different shapes and the different textures that are happening underneath your fingers. Now, if you discovered when the arms went here, something let you know, somewhere in particular felt a stretch. So I know, okay, you said biceps, which is perfectly fine. So use this to have a little bit of a squeeze and release into the biceps. Now for me, it's kind of my upper lats, which is going to come over and across and then threads into my arm here. So I know for me, I'm kind of focusing on this bit. You might have felt it in this back delt. So you might probably come over the top if you can reach. Oh, so nice. Yeah, and as you go closer into the joints, so as you kind of soften the muscle and you can go in a little bit, it yields to you. You'll probably find more layers that are maybe a little bit tender. And then if you've just done one side, you can do the other. Same thing, but you might not feel it the same place on the other side. You might feel it in different places, mightn't they? Mela says, I never feel anything because my body is perfect. I just jump all the time like that. You can't handstand though, can you? We can. He said, I can't jump 32 feet though, so that's probably right. Yes, okay, really focus on your bicep, really focus. Oh. And those of you that did do quite a lot of jumping on the palms, just have a little massage around the fingers and be quite vigorous. Yeah. Oh. And you might feel that you're all ready just to come and have a little sit down and a little twist before we come lay down. Or you might think, oh, I need my traps. You might think, please. And you can either massage, absolutely fine, or you can massage and add the soft tissue release, which is pressing the muscle in and then stretching away. So multitasking. Oh, or you might take a standard stretch. Wrist higher than the shoulder, head leans away, and then gently glide down as if a little hoverfly. Oh, there are some nice interesting bits there. You can swap over whenever you want. No rush. Yeah, I'm with you, Sammy. Such a nice one. Especially when you've got a new bit, you're like, oh yeah, it's a new bit. And you move the arm a little bit forward or back. You roll the wrist, you can feel the bicep. And then some of you are already in a twist, which is great. If you haven't done so, I recommend just having a little closed twist just to ease out that hip. You might decide that you prefer to be on your hands and knees with your knees really close together, and you can ease out the hip by leaning your hips closer to the ground. It's going to do similar, just depends on where you want to be. If you've already done both sides of your twists, you can come and lay down. Ooh. Yeah. Once you're down, it might be that your body calls for something in particular. It might be really lovely just to round a little bit. So kind of picking up. You might even do something like a weird halasana, which might have a little rocking action going on. Just for the back, really, just lengthening out and having a little massage. Maybe it might feel nice, it might feel too much. And at some point, the arms unfold and make that T shape. And then we come into a soft twist, which for most of us probably means a few props underneath us. Ooh. You want to stretch out a little bit of the bicep in this twist, and if you move the hand that's furthest away from your legs closer to, or higher up than you, because I don't know where your hands are, you should feel bicep and chest have a little stretch. And you can swap over when it suits you. And again, you might do the same thing with that arm. So the arm that's furthest away from your knees almost makes like a little diagonal line. Yes. Sorry. And when you feel like it's time to come out of the twist, it might be that you decide that you want to come into a soft Baddha Konasana, maybe with blocks underneath your feet or blocks underneath your knees. You might decide that one of those blocks is going to come underneath your head. That might feel really nice. It's funny because we tend to think, because it's not a very glamorous place, that the neck doesn't have muscles or doesn't really have a function, but it really does. So if you pop the block underneath your head and have that little side to side, you might discover pockets of unraveling tissue. Unraveling. We've got about 2 minutes before we need to think about where we want to spend our Shavasana meditation. And I'll let you know when we've got 1 minute, so that if you want to change positions, it's there. last minute before we start to think about moving. And very, very softly and really slowly just decide how you want to come out of whatever position you're in. Nice, deep, slow breaths. And you might decide that it would be really nice to lie down and let the system find its center on the floor, or you might decide that you want to spend the next 7 minutes in a seated meditation. You don't always have to choose the same thing. And wherever you've chosen to be, see if you can allow the body to be on the earth. So if your head's on the floor, you really feel the back of the head on the mat, on the carpet. And as you really feel the fabric of your clothes move against you, with you. And then allow the left foot to really nestle down. And then allow the right foot to do the same. Really finding the earth and just embedding down. You can soften the area around the jaw. Soften the cheekbones. Allow the eyes to be a little bit heavier. Just a little. And find whatever meditation suits you right now. And just keep coming back to it, even if it's not easy. Just keep bringing yourself back to that focus. And I'll come and get you in 5 minutes. whenever you feel like it's a good time to start to move, you can start to have a little roll around, just feeling the body on the earth, your body on earth. And then whenever you come to roll onto your side, just hang out there for a little bit. Yeah, kind of curled and snuggled. You might have some little guests come in for a cuddle. And just notice how you feel right now and how different it is, how much change you felt all day, how variable and transitional. And you can use a strong inhale to lift you up to a seated position if you're not already there. If you're there, you might have a little roll around of the head, a little reset of the eyes. And then gently take the arms wide and up and soften them down by your side. The arms wide and up, down by your side. Inhale, arms come up and they find their way into the heart. Namaste. I've got to turn this recording off as well.